You're entering the Blitz with your host, Matt Maldonado, on Madness4life News.
I scour through all just the words that speak of you, but no words can describe what I feel here inside. It's so strange, so strange, but it's not love, it's not desire, it's not a mere affection, but a feeling of my own creation.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Matt Maldonado, here in FEMA Region 9, Las Vegas, Nevada, and this is the Blitz, Madness4life News. It is podcast number 48, and it is episode 19. It is not the 19th of September. It is actually the 21st, but I'm doing the 19th episode for the Wednesday edition on Friday because I was doing other things. I actually went to the Republican National Committee on Wednesday, but I will not get into that. I'll probably get into that later on. So let's get into these news articles here right now. This article is from the endoftheamericandream.com. 10 quotes from financial experts about the effect that QE3 will have on gold and silver. Do you want to know what QE3 is going to do to the price of gold and the price of silver? Well, you can read what financial experts are saying below. But it doesn't take a genius to figure out what is likely to happen during QE3. The Federal Reserve will be introducing $40 billion new dollars that will have been created out of nothing into the financial system each month. So there will be more dollars chasing roughly the same number of goods and services, and that means that more inflation is on the way. In an inflationary environment, investors tend to flock to hard assets such as gold and silver. It is important to remember that a lot of the money from QE1 and QE2 ended up pumping up the prices of various financial assets. This included commodities such as gold and silver. The same thing is likely to happen again with QE3. In addition, investors now have an expectation that the Fed will continue printing money for the foreseeable future, and that the U.S. dollar is going to sustainably decline, and that expansion will also likely give further momentum to the upward movement of gold and silver. Of course, when it comes to investing, there is nothing a sure thing as the global financial system falls apart in the coming years. We are likely to see wild swings in the financial markets. So there is definitely an opportunity when it comes to gold and silver. but anyone that wants to invest in gold and silver needs to be ready for a wild ride. In a previous article, I compiled 10 quotes from experts from what QE3 is going to do to the U.S. economy. In this article, I have compiled 10 quotes from financial experts about the effect that QE3 will have on gold and silver. Hopefully, you will find some nuggets of wisdom that you can use in these quotes from some top financial veterans. Number 1. City analyst Tom Fitzpatrick, when gold breaks about $1,790, many people will feel they have missed the boat, and they will go to silver instead. So silver should outperform gold. People have to remember that we are only at the midpoint of the gold-silver ratio of the last 45 years. So it is not indiscernible that we could still go lower in terms of that ratio. If we see gold more to the 3,400 level, it is not inconceivable that we may see silver cost closer to $100. Investors have to remember that at the end of these 70s, the gold price doubled in a mere 5 or 6 weeks. If 3 to 5 years down the line, we see that the base policy of the developed world is the continue printing money, then the gloves are off in terms of what levels gold and silver could actually go to. Number 2, GATA. Bill Murray. Murphy, there we go. Not Murray. Murphy. All I know is the physical market, there we go. The physical market, if you want to buy silver in size, is the most difficult in history. These are from my best sources. Number 3. Frisco Balance, whatever. A global investor strategist with Bank of America Merrill Lynch regarding his belief that gold is heading to $2,400 an ounce. Given the new open-ended nature of QE3, the upward pressure on gold prices should continue until employment is strong enough to require a change in policy. Number 4. Morgan Stanley commodities analyst Hussein Al-Adana. We remain convinced that we remain convinced that the interest rate outlook, the likelihood of continuing risk aversion because of the Eurozone debt crisis, the strong physical market financial fundamentals, justify exposure to gold. Number 5, Peter Schiff, CEO of Euro Pacific Capital. The dollar is vulnerable to a massive collapse. Buy gold and silver. Number 6, Jim Rogers. There we go. Jim Rogers. But I'm not selling any gold. If it goes down, I hope I'm smart enough to buy more. If it goes down a lot, I hope I'm smart enough to buy a lot. Number 7, Deutsche Bank analyst Daniel Brenner and Knox Fu. We would go further however, and argue that gold could be characterized as good money, as opposed to bad money, which would be replaced by many of today's flat currencies. In describing gold as such, we refer to Grintham's law, when the government overvalues one type of money and undervalues another. The undervalued money, good, will leave the country or despair from circulation into hoarders, while the overvalued money, bad, will flood into circulation. There we go. Circulation into hoarders. There we go. That last part I messed up. Sorry. Number 8. Nick Barshiff, the CEO of Bullion Management Group Incorporated. The message is that the era of high returns financial assets for both stocks and bonds, as Bill Gross has stated, is over and good and gold. See, I'm messing up here. Has stated is over, and gold is the primary go-to asset for wealth preservation. QE3 will only serve to a character. Okay. I'll create this trend. Circulate this trend. Number 9, Bill Gross. Gold can't be reproduced. It could certainly be taken out of the ground in an increasing rate, but there's a limiting amount of gold. And there has been an unlimited amount of paper money over the past 20 to 30 years, and now. In this period of central bank expansion, where it's QE1 and QE2, or rather it's the LTROs of the ECB, or this potential new program. These central banks are at their leisure to basically print money. Gold is fixed commodity that has a considerable store of value. That paper money has not. When a central bank starts writing checks and printing money in trillions of dollars, it's best to have something tangible that can't be reproduced, such as gold. Mark Faber. Number 10. I think that the trend for gold prices will be steady, but the trend for the dollar and other currencies will be down. In other words, in dollar terms, the price of gold will trend higher. How high it will go, you have to call Mr. Bernanke and at the Fed. There are other people actually that make Mr. Bernanke look like a hawk, so they are going to print money. Over the past several weeks, both before and after QE3 was announced, we have seen a significant rise in the price of gold and in the price of silver. A lot of very wealthy people are around the globe greatly benefit from this move, such as Donald Trump and Warren Buffett and many, many others. Continuing here. In a previous article, I quoted in an article from the Telegraph that discussed the numerous amounts of money that billionaires George Soros and John Paulson had been investing in gold earlier this year. There was also news last week in the SEC, there we go, the SEC, filling that both George Soros and John Paulson had increased their investment in SPDR Gold Trust, the gold's largest publicly traded physical gold exchange, traded, not trend. I'm sorry, publicly traded physical gold exchange traded fund (ETF). Continuing, Mr. Soros upped his stake in the ETF to 884,400 shares from 319,550, and Mr. Paulson bought 4.53 million shares, bringing his stake to 21.3 million. At the current price of about $156 a share, these are new investments of about $88 million of Mr. Soros's cash, and more than $700 million from Mr. Paulson's funds. These are significant positions. And central banks all over the planet have also been hoarding gold. According to the World Gold Council, global central banks added 157.5 metric tons of gold last quarter. That was the most gold that global central banks have ever added into their stockpiles during a single quarter. Could it be possible that some folks knew ahead of time that QE3 was coming? That is a very interesting question. In any event, there is certainly a lot of hoarding of previous metals going around around the world, and without a doubt, a lot of financial insiders are very bullish on gold and silver right now. But in the financial world, there is never a guarantee that something will happen. For example, if there is a stock market crash in the coming months, the price of gold and the price of silver are likely to fall dramatically. Just take a look at this 5-year chart for silver. During the last financial crisis, the price of silver dropped like a rock. In fact, it fell by more than 50% between late 2008 and early 2009. So when the next stock market crash comes, and it is coming at some point, be prepared for gold and silver to take a tumble. But how will the financial authorities respond to such a crash? They will print even larger amounts of money, of course, to make it work for everybody. And that will once again be very good for gold and silver. So don't let the ups and downs scare you too much. Gold and silver are definitely in for a wild ride. But in the long term, I extremely bullish on gold and silver. I believe that both are eventually headed into the stratosphere. So what do you think is going to happen to gold and silver? Please feel free to post a comment with your thoughts below. Continuing here with other articles. This is from the economic collapse. Is America the most materialistic society in the history of the world? When it comes to materialism, has any nation ever surpassed what we are seeing in the United States right now? We define our lives by how much stuff we have. To a large degree, our personal and business relationships are defined by how much money we make. And even most of the important dates on our calendar are all about materialism. Just think about it. We threw outrageous birthday parties for our kids, and we shower them with gifts. Most of our holidays have become highly materialistic. And the best holiday of all in our society, Christmas, is an obvious orgy of materialism. We make lists of the wealthiest Americans and we glorify their achievements. We spend most of our time either making money or spending it. Even the American dream reveals how materialistic we are. When most people are asked what the American dream is, they start talking about a house, a car, vacations, retirements, sending your kids to college, etc. The American dream has become all about money and stuff. Sadly, no matter how big our homes are and no matter how many shiny new toys we accumulate, we never seem to be happy. We always want more, and we always seem to be willing to go into more debt to get it. We are the most materialistic society in the history of the world, and our endless greed is going to end up shallowing us alive. When it comes to materialism in America, there are outrageous examples all around us. But one of my favorite examples is the rich kids of Instagram. It is a Trumbull blog of photos from Stenogram of young Americans showing off how they are enjoying the vast wealth of their parents. The following is how the Washington Post describes the blog. The conventional new Trumbull, whatever the heck it is a collection of snapshots from the photo sharing site that depicts the children of wealth and privilege summing in the Hamptons, summering in the Hamptons, lounging on yachts and posing on the luxury cars. One does a backflip out of a helicopter near St. Tropez. Others snap pictures of their restaurant bills, allegedly buying thousands of dollars for lobster, champagne, and high-end alcohol. In the warm painting of the Instagram, the youngsters appear to be living over-the-top lifestyles and enjoying every moment. Our everyday is better than your best day, reads one caption, a bit harsh. And do you have a horse in your backyard? Didn't think so. But just because you have a horse on your property, does that make your life better than the rest of our lives? No, actually, I'm going to say that right now. No, it doesn't. And it also says, of course not. So that's true. No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter if you have a horse. Doesn't matter if you have a car. Listen, if you don't basically stand up for liberty and freedom, stand up for those that can't stand up for themselves, I'm sorry, you're just another slug that all it wants is money. I just want money and power. It's like that's all you want. It's not the way life's about. But hey, that's okay. I was raised differently, even though my family's different. But still, continuing here. Wealthy does not equal happiness. Of course not. It actually equals misery. The more wealth you have, the more miserable you are. But that's all right. Unfortunately, however, most Americans have totally bought into this lie. Most Americans believe that more money equals a better life. Actually, I have almost no money. Actually, I basically have no money, and I still am happy. I'm freaking very happy, actually. I had a great time 2 days ago and yesterday. But hey, that's just me. I think everybody else should have good times, even if you don't have money. You don't need to have money to have a good time. Sorry. But hey, that's all right. Let's continue here. Most Americans believe that more money equals a better life. In response to the rich kids of Instagram, the Huffington Post recently put together a piece entitled "The Rich Cats of Instagram" that features photos of cats as they model upscale accessories, lounge with bottles of champagne, sail on yachts, and bender life while relaxing atop pails of money. Of course, a lot of these pictures are quite funny, but they also reveal a deep truth about our society. We have spent our lives chasing after the almighty dollar, thinking that it will make us happy. Study after study has shown that we tend to lack wealth and happiness. The following is from a recent NBC News article about one of those studies. Many parents already known older children can be materialistic. There we go. Some tweens not only want the latest game and clothes, but also think owning these things will bring them happiness. It won't. Friends and popularity. And marketers are edger to get them to buy. Twin spend $28 billion a year, not including the more $200 billion their parents spend on them, according to market research company C+R Research. But even though we have an incredible high standard of living compared to most of the rest of the world, are most of us actually happy? No way. In fact, Americans take more antidepressants than anyone else on the planet. It is really easy to get caught up in materialism, though. Let me share an example from my own life. Several months ago, our old truck completely died. Instead of pouring thousands of more dollars into fixing it, we decided that we would get another used truck. So the other day, I stopped by a dealership while my wife was grabbing some things from Home Depot. The salesperson started showing me some of the used trucks on the lot, but after a while, I suggest that he show me some of the new trucks that were sitting on the other side of the lot. Before I knew it, I was sitting in the most expensive truck on the lot, and he was showing me all of the cool features it had. And I have to admit, for a few moments there, I was really enarmed with that truck. It was the coolest truck that I had ever seen in my life. Of course, my wife and I don't need a truck like that. We only need to haul stuff around a few times a month. And we certainly do not need the amount of debt that it would take to buy such a truck. But for a few moments there, I really wanted it. The pull of materialism can be very strong. So would that truck have changed my life or brought me least happiness? Of course not. It would have brought some thrills for the first couple of days, but after a while it would just be sitting in the garage taking up space just like any other truck would. So did I end up buying a truck? Not yet, but we need one soon. My wife has been without a truck for quite a few months now, and she is getting impatient. Rather we get a nice used truck or a used truck that has 1 foot in the grave. 1 foot in the grave. It really isn't going to change our lives much. In the end, our lives should not be defined by what we own or by how much money we have in the bank. But how do we refer to ourselves in this day and age? The American people are called consumers, and the truth is that we consume far more than anyone else on the globe does. Just like at our eating habits of all the major industrialized nations, America is the most obese because of like the additives, the extra additives and GMO they put in the food. Continuing here, the next time you go into a store, take a note of how many people are overweight. It has not always been this way. Back in 1962, only 13% of all Americans were obese. But now overeating is a national sport at this point. Approximately 36% of all Americans are obese, and it is being projected that number will rise to 42% by 2030. While we are goring goring ourselves with food, what else do we like to do? That's right, we love to watch television. In fact, the average American watches 28 hours of television every single week. Well, actually, I watch at least 2 hours worth of television now. We have become completely and totally addicted to entertainment, and we have become trained to be considerably plugged in to something. Our lives have become all about consistently trained to be consistently plugged into something. Our lives have become all about consistently feeding our greed and our selfishness. In fact, that is a major reason for the breakdown of the family in America. We tend to view a marriage as a temporary condition that can be quickly discarded when it no longer makes us happy. Yeah, but don't you want to? That is true. And I would like to tell people, like, don't you want to fix that? If you're unhappy, you can fix that in order to make yourselves happy. So then that stuff won't happen again. So then your marriage will be fine. But hey, marriage doesn't matter in this country anymore, and that's a shame. Continuing here. Sadly, the United States has the highest divorce rate in the world by a very wide margin at this point. In addition, more Americans than ever are putting off marriage these days. Young Americans are being told that an education and a career are more important. According to the Pew Research Center, only 51% of all American adults are currently married. Back in 1960, 72% of all adults in America were married. As a result of these factors, we are an incredible lonely nation. Today, the United States has the highest percentage of one-person households on the entire globe. In order to fill that void, the American people turn to things that will numb the pain. Americans use more legal drugs than anyone else on the planet, and they also use more illegal drugs than anyone else on the planet. We have more stuff than any other society in the history of the world has ever had. But it has not made us happy. Of course not. And how did we pay for all of this? We paid for a lot of these with debt. In fact, we have accumulated the biggest mountain of debt in the history of the world. During my lifetime, the debt of the U.S. Government has gotten more than 30 times larger. For much more on this, please see my previous article entitled 27 Things That Every American Should Know About the National Debt. But the federal government is not the only one with a debt problem. The truth is that our entire society is obviously drowning in debt. Over the past 50 years, the total amount of debt in the United States has grown from less than $1 trillion to nearly $55 trillion. We have used a massive amounts of debt in an attempt to feed our endless greed and materialism, and we have gotten ourselves into a whole lot of trouble. This is one of the reasons why I write. I want people to understand how bad things have really gotten. Thanks to our foolishness, our economy has become declining. It is going to continue to decline, and massive economic collapse is coming. Some people believe that this is a message of doom and gloom, but that is not the case at all. Sticking our heads in the sand and pretending that somehow everything is going to be just fine is not going to do anyone any good. Instead, I believe that warning people about the coming economic collapse is a message of hope. There is hope in understanding what is happening, developing a pain to deal with it, and preparing yourself and your family for the storm that is coming. It is the people that are ignoring all of the warnings that are going to be in real trouble. Millions upon millions of people will obviously blindside by what is coming. Many will give in a total despair once they realize that their prosperity is gone. And they have done nothing to prepare for what they are now facing. My hope is that the information that I write about will be shocking enough that it will wake people up and motivate them to get prepared so that they can handle the incredible challenging years that are ahead. The truth is that our lives should not be about our money and our stuff anyway. Your possessions are just temporary. None of them are going to last forever, and you certainly cannot take them with you when you die. Even though our economy has had some rough times, we still have a higher standard of living than 99% of the humans that have ever lived on the planet have had. You would think that it would be enough for us, but it isn't. We have hoarded our wealth, and we have lived in luxury and self-indulgence. When our debt fueled prosperity despairs, most Americans are not going to know how to handle it. Most Americans will believe that their lives are over at this point. At that point. But those that are not caught up in materialism and that have prepared for what is ahead will understand that the next chapter of their lives can be the greatest chapter of all. And that's it for that article. That's a great article, actually. Very powerful. All right, let's see if I can do the next one. See if I have enough time. Yeah, I have enough time. Hopefully. Alrighty. Yeah, it's nice, short, and sweet. So, this is the last article from the economic collapse. 21 factors about America's declining infrastructure that will blow your mind. You can tell a lot about a nation by the conduction of the infrastructure. So what does our infrastructure say about us? It says that we are in a very advanced state of decline. At this point, much of America is being held together with spit. with spit and duct tape and pliers. Pliers. There we go. Our roads are crumbling, and thousands of bridges look like they could collapse at any point, at any moment. Our power grid is ancient, and over 1 trillion gallons of treated swells is leaking from our aging sewer system each year. Our airports and our seaports are clogged with far more traffic than they were ever designed to carry. Approximately a third of all of the dam failures that have taken place in the United States since 1874 have happened during the past decade. Our national parks and recreation areas have been terribly neglected. There we go. Terribly neglected, and our railroads are a bad joke. Hurricane Katrina showed how vulnerable our levees are, and drinking water system all over the country are badly outdated. Sadly, at a time when we could use significant new investment in infrastructure, our spending on infrastructure is actually way down. Back during the 50s and the 60s, the U.S. was spending between 3 and 4% of GDP on infrastructure. Today, that figure is down to about 2.4%. But, of course, we don't have any extra money to spend on infrastructure because our reckless spending and because of the massive amount of debt that we have accumulated. While the Obama administration is spending more than $500,000 in figure out why chimpanzees throw poop, our national infrastructure is literally falling apart around us. Once upon a time, nobody else on the planet could match our infrastructure, and now we are in the process of becoming a joke to the rest of the world. The following are 21 facts about America's failing infrastructure that will blow your mind. Number 1. The American Society of Civil Engineers have given America's crumbling infrastructure an overall grade of D. Number 2, there are simply not enough roads in the United States today. Each year, traffic jams cost the commuters of America 4.2 billion hours and about 2.8 million of gas, million gallons of gasoline. Number 3, it is being projected that Americans have spent an average of 160 hours straight in traffic annually by the year 2035. Number 4, approximately 1/3 of all roads in the United States are in substandard conditions. Number 5, close to 1/3 of all highway fatalities are due to substandard road conditions, obsolete road designs, or roadside hazards. Number 6, 1 out of every 4 bridges in America either carries more traffic than originally intended or is in need of repair. Number 7, preparing all of the bridges in the United States that need repair would take approximately $140 billion. Number 8, according to the U.S. Chamber of commerce, our declining transportation system costs the U.S. economy about $78 billion annually in lost time and fuel. Number 9, all over America, asphalt roads are being grounded up and are being replaced with gravel roads because they are cheaper to maintain. The state of South Dakota has transformed over 100 miles of asphalt. I think it's asphalt roads into gravel roads. And 38 out of the 83 counties in the state of Michigan have transformed at least some of their asphalt roads into gravel roads. Number 10, there are 4,095 dams in the United States that are at risk of failure. The number has risen by more than 100% since 1999. Number 11, one of all of the dam failures that have happened in the United States since 1874, a third of them have happened during the past decade. Number 12, close to half of all U.S. households do not have access to bus or rail transit. There we go. Number 13, our aging sewer systems spill more than 1 trillion gallons of untreated sewage every single year. The cost of cleaning up the sewage every year is estimated to be greater than $50 billion. Number 14. It is estimated that rolling blackouts and infestities. Sorry, I can't say that word. In the U.S. electoral grid cost the U.S. economy approximately $80 billion a year. Number 15. It is being projected that by the year 2020, every single major container port in the United States will be handling at least double the volume that it was originally designed to handle. Number 16, all access. All across, there we go, not access. All across the United States, conditions at many of our state parks, recreation areas, and historical sites are deplorable at best. Some states have backlogs of repair projects that are now over $1 billion long. More than a dozen states estimate that their backlogs are at least $100 million. Massachusetts and New York's are at least $1 billion. Hawaii officials called park conditions deplorable in a December report, asking for $50 million per year for 5 years to tackle a $240 million backlog that covers parks, trails, and harbors. 17. Number 17. Today, the U.S. spends about 2.4% of GDP on infrastructure. Meanwhile, China spends about 9% of GDP on infrastructure. Number 18. In the United States today, approximately 16% of our construction workers are unemployed. Number 19, China has planned to build 55,000 miles of highways by the year 2020. If all of those roads were put end to end, it would be longer than the total length of the entire U.S. interstate system. Number 20, the World Economic Forum ranks U.S. infrastructure 23rd in the world, and we fell a little bit further behind the rest of the developed world every single day. Number 21, it has been projected that it would take $2.2 trillion over the next 5 years just to repair our existing infrastructure. That does not even include a single penny for a bad needed new infrastructure. So where did we go wrong? One of the big problems is that we have become a very materialistic society that is obviously obscene that with short-term thinking. Investing in infrastructure is something that has long-term benefits, but these days Americans tend to only be focused on what is happening right now, and what politicians are only focused on the next election cycle. Another major problem is that there is so much corruption and a waste of our system these days. The government certainly spends more than enough money, but very little of the money is spent wisely. A lot of the money that could be going toward rebuilding our infrastructure is being poured down the toilet instead. Very much more on this. Please read my previous article entitled 16 Sickening Facts That Show How Members of Congress and Federal Workers Are Living the High Life at Your Expense. Unfortunately, it is probably appropriate that our infrastructure is declining, because we are declining in just about every other way that it is possible for our society to declare. Whatever. We are declining in economically, politically, mentally, emotionally, physically, morally, spiritually. Oh, you got that right. I'm sorry to laugh, but that is true. That is very, very true. And you see the whole hallmarks of a society ready to collapse, just like Rome and just like Greece and just like every other country. But hey, we love it. Continuing here, we are a complete and total mess. So why shouldn't what is happening to be infrastructure on the outside match what is happening to us as a nation on the inside? And sadly, we simply do not have the money that we need for infrastructure because of all the debt that we have piled up. The federal government, our state governments, and our local governments are all struggling to stay afloat in an ocean of red ink. And unfortunately, that means that spending on infrastructure is likely to be cut even more in the years ahead. So get used to rotting, crumbling, declining infrastructure. What you see out there right now is only just the beginning. And it's going to continue and continue and continue. And that is it for today. I'm going to end this podcast by saying thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me today and listening to me today. If you want to follow me, you can actually hit that subscribe button, or you can follow me on the links below, or you can follow Close to Modern. They're also on the links below. And also buy their new album. They're gonna be having new shows coming up, so you can add them on Facebook and also follow them on their Twitter account. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to me. And God bless America.